All right, ready? So, ladies, first of all, talk a little, one of you can just answer this one. Tell me about your client that you worked with this year.
Our client was Candy, and she had MS, and she was mostly affected on her right side, which was her dominant side, so she struggled with a lot of daily tasks. She was limited to really any movement in her right arm. She could only kind of shift her arm around. So it was hard for her to do simple things like wash dishes, clean up, tote stuff around. But, I mean...
So how did you figure out, like you made a couple things for her, right? You guys did make a lot for her. So how did you figure out what to make for her? Like how did you get to that point? I mean, did she tell you what she wanted you to make? How did you like figure that out?
We just kind of asked her some things that she struggles with and that she wishes that she could be able to do on her own. We just kind of made a list and figured out what we thought was most important, stuff that could be easy to accomplish for her.
So you guys did talk to her though. You interviewed her. And then you were able to glean from that interview what you thought, like she talked about all her issues and stuff, and then you thought this is what you could build within your capabilities. Were you ever scared that it was going to be too hard?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were?
Yeah.
And what made you get past that, Jaylynn?
We just kept prototyping and figuring out, like, when we had one problem, and to fix it.
Okay. And so did you ever fail, or were they all successes?
Some of them failed, like the ones leaking and that broke in the sink.
Mm-hmm. And then what did you do when how did you feel when you failed, Josephine?
It was kind of disheartening, but we figured something out, and most of the stuff that we figured out worked.
So you just kind of pushed through?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So what was the most meaningful, and you can each answer this question, if you had to pick something, what was the most meaningful work you did in the whole year? What was the most meaningful? Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
I guess what was most meaningful to me was when we did accomplish our jar opener thing, and we were able to sit with her, and she just seemed so happy, and she told us that we did everything that she asked for and asked for us to change. And that was really meaningful to me because it meant that we listened to her and we were able to fit her needs in something she wanted.
Okay. What about you?
It made me happy when she was happy.
Yeah, but the most meaningful was making your client happy. I love that, right? I mean, what about you?
As long as I can help it.
Yeah.
Right, as long as we can help her, stuff that she's gonna be able to use that she needed.
So it's not the A, it's not the grade, it's not the process, it's the actual, right? The empathy that you had for somebody, and then you able to be successful and give her something that worked, that made her a little bit more independent, right? Okay. What was the most personal part about working in this class for you? Like what did you make it personal? I mean, this isn't like a math class, is it? So what was most personal for you?
It was really personal because all of the relationships we made. I mean, we were assigned our groups, but I mean, the three of us, we got along really good and learned about each other, and we're able to get along, and I count them as friends now, which I think is really personal because, I mean, we didn't even know anyone before,
Yeah.
and now we just walk out of here with friends.
Good. Is that same for you? What about working with other people in the school building? Was that more of a personal thing that did you went outside of just the room, right? You weren't just in your room.
It kind of was personal for me too doing that because it got me out of my comfort zone to ask other people for help.
That was gonna be my next thing, like what was the most uncomfortable thing you had to do in this class? So
When I had to go, we had to go to the machinery room or whatnot. I would have so much anxiety. I could not do it alone. I'm glad I had them.
All three of us, whenever we had to go somewhere else.
We all had to go.
Because it was just.
And do you feel like you've made progress in that kind of area? Like going into an uncomfortable situation? Yes, you're still like with people, but do you find you made progress, or is it still something that's a work in progress?
It's a work in progress, but I think I'm getting there to be more independent, but still with the team.
Good.
If I have a team, then you have to do that stuff together.
Good. What did you learn about yourself that you will use when you either like go into the working world, because some of you might be going to college and some of you might be just going to work in a career. So what did you learn in the class that will help you? You feel like, wow, that was really gonna help me when I go to college, or when I go to, when I go and start doing different work, or I go and work in the working world.
That I like actually can invent stuff. Like I didn't think I would be able to come up with anything to help.
And you think you can apply that almost
Yeah,
in
I
any
can.
situation, that whole like process of
Yeah,
thinking
figuring
about
out
it,
and retrying.
retrying, failing is okay, brainstorming. Sometimes you gotta go back to square one, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, good, I love that insight, Jaylynn. What about you?
Definitely the brainstorming process and understanding that at some things you're not gonna know the information for everything. So I guess learning to know that you're gonna fail at some things and just accepting it.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to do when we're in a school educational environment, isn't it? Because when you fail at something, what happens?
Your grade drops.
You get the F and you don't get to try again, usually what do? Next?
Yep. Move along.
Right, so I don't hear you say that, like you weren't worried about the F, you were worried about making your client successful, right? So good. Yeah, I love that you said the brainstorming thing, right? Because I think sometimes we think we gotta do exactly what the teacher wants or exactly what somebody wants. It's okay to brainstorm, and I'm really, going to college, encourage you to do that.
Sometimes if you do something else, they might figure out they want something different.
Exactly, so rubric is great, but sometimes you go outside of the rubric, don't you? So great point. If you had to choose one thing that you wish you could have changed, or the wish you, like that could be anything, change about what you did in class, or what you did with your client, or about anything, what I could change in the class, what's one thing you would change? You have the power, you have a magic wand to change one thing, what would it be?
Probably getting more class time,
Yeah,
because I think that
definitely.
would help a lot.
Yeah, this was really a hard year
Like
for you,
3 days
wasn't
a
it?
week would have been better at least.
Like if you were here 5 days a week for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We would have gotten done so
Yeah,
much.
I felt like we had so much time
Pressured
restraint.
with time, yeah.
It was that 2 days and then 5 days away from each
And
other,
then
and then
having
2
to
days,
break.
yeah. What about doing this class virtually?
That wouldn't work at all.
It was very difficult to do it virtually, wasn't it? Yeah. And you all did you did some good stuff in the fall, when we had to go virtually for the while, and you met as a team, it's a little, it's tough, you gotta be with each other and you gotta be with stuff, don't you? So good job. The last thing, how did you feel, like really just think about this question a minute. In what ways did it make a difference that you were making something for somebody? You weren't making something for me, you were making something for somebody.
I enjoy helping people, so if I can help someone, that makes me happy,
Mhm.
and if they're happy, I'm happy.
Good. How did it change your approach to what you were doing?
Like it made me really think. Like I usually never really have to listen to people that I need a help. And it just helps when you need to listen to someone, you need to listen to them.
Listening, very important for empathy, isn't it?
And thinking how they would think, like.
She's not there all the time, is she?
Yeah.
You have to put yourself into the
In her
shoes.
shoes,
Yeah, that empathy. I think that a lot of you feel like you're empathetic, but has this made you a little bit more of an empathetic person to really
Yeah.
feel what Candy feels and how difficult just simple things are?
Right.
Yeah, okay. What's one thing that you're most proud of? Did I already ask you that question? No. One thing that you're most proud of. You had one thing you could change. What's one thing you were most proud of in this class for the whole year that you did?
Passing my phone test.
Passing your phone test, yay! Yes, and I agree. You should be very proud of that.
Hopefully I'm gonna pass it.
Yeah, probably my social skills. Because I was kind of a quiet person that I just talked to people that I knew and was close to. But now I feel more comfortable like speaking out or asking for help, which is kind of nice because that could be useful.
Yes, it can be. It is. Yes, you found a voice, right?
I'm proud of my accomplishments and that I got to help.
Yeah, good, good. All right, ladies, it has been really a pleasure to have all three of you in the class. You have been probably the hardest workers, that I've had in a long time. So really, I'm really proud of all of you, okay? Especially during this time of crazy education, right? All right, anything you want to add? You all good? All right, thank you.